For sheer breathtaking beauty, few places on earth can match the backwaters and lagoons of Alappuzha, Kerala. Connoisseurs of natural beauty from around the world have congregated here for years. But 7 months of lockdown have broken the back of the houseboat sector. This week, Geometric View takes a cruise around Alappuzha to see how the houseboat sector is coping post-COVID. Alappuzha was still bustling with domestic and international tourists on March 18 when Kerala declared a lockdown. Over the next few days, tour operators scrambled to make return journey arrangements for the tourists, an effort that won international acclaim. It's a vastly different and sober picture here in Alappuzha after the lockdown has been lifted exactly 7 months later on October 18th. The desolate picture is visible well before one reaches the once busy boating canals of Alappuzha town. Here in Kaithavana, one can see rows and rows of houseboats tethered to the banks, lying idle where they have been for 7 long months. By the way, if you're not aware of the story of the magnificent Kerala houseboats, they are an innovation by the late Babu Varghese, a tourism pioneer from the state. He converted the traditional kettu vallams or rice barges into houseboats, and lo and behold, there was an astonishingly popular tourism product that attracted tourists from around the world to Kerala. Babu Varghese, who was managing director of Tour India, passed away in 2011. As one enters Alappuzha town, the thin traffic on the roads and the rows of houseboats and shikaras anchored by the canals clearly convey how lean business is. At the District Tourism Promotion Council office, Secretary Malin Muralidharan tells me that there have been about 1,000 guests in the first 9 days since reopening. That's just a trickle, but the industry has to start somewhere. But the mood outside his office is somber, reflected in these canals where tourists once used to jostle to get into houseboats and shikaras. Alappuzha has about 800 registered boats employing about 3,500 people directly, and of course many more indirectly. Almost all of the 3,500 people have lost their jobs during these 7 months, and 25% of the owners are also believed to have gone out of business. And at least one of the houseboat owners is known to have become a daily wage laborer, working as a helper in a tile laying and masonry job.
How are your members financially placed after 7 months of continuous lockdown?
All are in very bad shape because there is no source of income. Because a few of our members have some other side business, maybe some rice fields or estates or some side business. They can survive. Others, those who are completely depending on the tourism business or the houseboat business, they are all in very bad shape.
800 houseboat shutting operations and 3,500 people being laid off are simply the direct impact. Tourism is a great jobs multiplier. So the number of jobs will run into many more thousands, from the tour operators in the originating country to airline staff, to ground handling staff, to airport staff, to taxi drivers, hotels and restaurants, tour guides, translators, provision, vegetable, fish and meat vendors, local information kiosks, curios and memento sellers, laundry services and much more. The financial crisis is most acute for those who have invested recently. Houseboats cost, depending on the size and the number of bedrooms, between 4 million and 8 million rupees. Imagine the kind of investment in those boats. Even if you take an average of 5 million per boat, in 800 boats it works out to 4 billion rupees. And that investment has not earned a rupee in the last 7 months. 95% of boat owners have loans. The moratorium helped, but that has only helped to delay the debt and interest burden. The government is planning to provide a grant of between 80,000 and 120,000 to boat owners, but at best that is only a plan for now. During the desolate days of the lockdown, some boat owners innovated to stay in business, like this houseboat owner who converted the luxury pool on the houseboat top deck into a fish pond. Other innovations included vegetable farming and rabbitry on idle houseboats. Some of the bigger operators like the Pulikattil Houseboats, which operates a dozen houseboats including those with conference halls and swimming pool, have been the first of the block on reopening.
So these are Tobu Pulikattil, Managing Director of Pulikattil Houseboats, a company that runs a dozen boats on the Alappuzha backwaters, and his wife Tanvi, who also is the Director of Sales for the company. Tobu, what is a good reason for coming to Alappuzha at this time?
In this time, the guests will get good caring and good services, and the rates also comparatively normal.
Tanvi, the Kerala state has allowed tourism houseboat operators to be operational from the 18th of this month. What has been the response in the first 10 days?
Actually, as we know, it's been a week. We have started all these houseboat running and all. We have inquiries, but comparatively it's very less.
Besides the 800 houseboats, there are also about 100 shikaras, which are smaller boats without bedrooms that offer day cruises. But as far as business goes, the shikaras are in the same boat as the houseboats are.
7 മാസത്തെ ലോക്ക്ഡൌൺ കൊണ്ട് ഈ ഷിക്കാര ബിസിനസിന് എന്ത് സംഭവിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നു?
7 മാസമായിട്ട് അക്ഷരാർത്ഥത്തിൽ ഈ ശിക്കാര മേഖല എന്ന് മാത്രമല്ല ഈ ടൂറിസം മേഖല തന്നെ പൂർണ്ണമായും സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ചെയ്യപ്പെട്ടു.
The main difference between the houseboats and the shikaras are mostly owner operated. These people have worked their way up the socio-economic ladder from being manual laborers on farms to being shikara owners now. But the way things are going, it looks like they may go back down the socio-economic ladder, back to doing manual work after having to sell their shikaras in distress sales.
ഷിക്കാരകൾ വിൽക്കാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുന്നുണ്ട് ആളുകൾ.
വിൽക്കാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. പരിപൂർണമായി അത് വിറ്റ് ഈ രംഗം ഒഴിയണമെന്ന് ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നവരുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ ഈ സമയത്തായാലും ക്രയവിക്രയം നടത്തുന്നതിന് ഗുണകരമായ ഒരു കാലാവസ്ഥയല്ലാത്ത കാരണം വിറ്റ് പോകുന്നതിന് തടസ്സം ഉണ്ടാകുന്നുണ്ട്.
Many shikara workers now lead a hand-to-mouth existence. Vijay Kakrail, who works on the Davidaputra shikara, has done manual labor and even sold banana chips to make ends meet during the lockdown. He says even paying a rent for his house has become a tall order for him.
മാസം 5000 രൂപ വാടക. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളത് ഇവിടുന്ന് പരസ്യമായി ജീവിതമൊക്കെ മേടിച്ചാണ് എങ്ങനെയും ഒരു മാസം തട്ടിമുട്ടൊക്കെ വാടക പറഞ്ഞു വിടുന്നത്.
It's getting to be 3 decades since the late Babu Verghese conceptualized houseboats out of rice barges. And in these 3 decades, these gently moving beauties on the backwaters of Alappuzha have become an internationally recognized tourism product. Now is not the time to give up hope. Indeed, optimistic operators are already looking forward with hope towards the upcoming Christmas New Year season. What the rest of the world can do now is to support these houseboat operators and shikara operators as they strive to sail again. Cruises that used to cost between 6,000 and 15,000 rupees, depending on the time and the number of bedrooms, are now offering 20% discounts. And the shikaras are available for 400 rupees an hour for cruises. As I sign off, let me leave you with the visual of a leading houseboat owner in Alappuzha who walks the talk and believes that there is no better place for honeymoon than a houseboat, even for himself.
You live by these beautiful backwaters and you run this tourism company and you're newly married. You've not been able to take a honeymoon yourself. Where do you plan to go once the lockdown is lifted?
We are planning in houseboat only. Our first honeymoon will be in houseboat only. Then we will plan to fly.